All right. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? I think we are good, right? Tell me if I think, you know, are we good? I think we're good. I think so. I think we're good. Is this okay? It probably is. Anyway, good evening, people. Welcome back to my channel. I am Undead Sick 83, your governor of movie reviews. And since it's Saturday, it's time to do another video. And I thought it would be fun to do a live stream again today. Um, it's not going to be about physical media. It's going to be just a stream, as it says in the title. So we're just here to chat. If you feel like come and talking to me, please do leave comments, questions, whatever, and I'll try to get into them as much as possible. So just saying, and I hope you will have a good time. All right. So, do we have any people in the chat already? I don't think so. Live chat, there it is. No, there is no one there yet. Okay, that's fine. There is no one there still. Let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Are we there? I think we're good. Okay. So if you guys feel like coming in, please do leave comments and questions and stuff like that. Or is nobody coming? Let's see. Who do we have here? Do we have any people watching? We have one person watching the stream. Oh, he left already. Okay, that's fine. Don't feel shy, guys. Please just ask me stuff, leave comments, all of that stuff. I'm sure we will have a lot of interesting discussions and such. So let's see. We have one person visiting the chat right here. Who is that? Let's see. Oh, there it is. Jerry is here. Hi, Jerry. Hi. There you are. Hi. He says, so glad to witness your new stream. Yeah. I thought it was about time, right, that I did another one. Even though there aren't as many people visiting my streams, I thought I'd give it another shot. So yeah, there it is. But good to see you here. Thank you for dropping in. So let's see, what do we have? Okay, so I hope everything is all right with you, Jerry. I hope you are doing well and that you are healthy, stuff like that. Of course, always in this, crazy time of COVID, I hope you are well. I hope you are well. So let's see, who do we have? Do we have any more people dropping in? Not yet. So Jerry, if you want to talk about something, please, leave your comments or questions, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability, so to speak. Let's see. Do we have any other people dropping in here? Not yet, as of now. Okay. So. So what is up with you, Jerry? Have you seen any movies or TV shows or whatever? Do you want to talk about other stuff related to films? Anything is possible. Everything is possible. Jerry is sending a message. Jerry says, I actually got through COVID last October, but I've almost recovered. Hope you are well too. Oh, really? Oh man, that sucks, man. That sucks. Oh, damn. Wow. I'm sorry you had to go through that, man. That was like, okay. That's tough luck. That's tough luck. I hope you weren't too sick. I hope it didn't affect you too much. But it's good to see. It's good to read that you are in recovery. That's good to hear. So good for you. Um, hope He says hope you are well too. Yeah, I'm fine actually. I'm fine. I've had my vaccinations. I'm being very careful. I had my flu shot as well. So I'm vaccinated enough, hopefully. And I tested a couple of times and I'm negative, so that's a good thing. And I've been trying to get back to normal life as much as possible, right? I mean, I've been visiting the theaters, which was great. I got to see a lot of movies again. I've seen Eternals, I've seen June, I've seen No Time to Die, I've seen A Quiet Place. Let's see, I've seen Venom 2, that is. I've seen Shang-Chi. I got to see a lot of movies, which is great, right? Which is great. I mean, that's what it's about, right? That's what the channel is about. So yeah, it's been great. It's been great getting back into the theater. And Jerry is asking, I've been wanting to hear your opinion on Halloween Kills. Did you get a chance to see it already? Actually, Jerry, I haven't seen it yet. I want to. I really want to. I might go on Monday, like upcoming Monday. I might go on Monday to watch it because I really want to see it. I thought the previous Halloween, Halloween 2018, I think it was. I thought that the previous one was very good. I thought that was very, very good. I really enjoyed that. It's Halloween has been through such a roller coaster, right? In terms of the franchise, it started off with, of course, with the first one, and he wasn't called Michael Myers back then. He was just, the shape, and then of course we got the sequel, and we found out that Michael and Jamie Lee Curtis are tied together, stuff like that, and brother and sister, all of that stuff, and then we got a sort of like standalone film, Halloween 3, which is not really a standalone film anymore, because in some ways it kind of ties into part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, with the cult and stuff like that. So in certain ways it ties with that. But yeah, movie 3, Halloween 3, a movie without Michael Myers, which is funny actually, because originally the Halloween series was going to be an anthology series. Michael Myers was originally, he was only going to be in the first movie, and then in the second movie they would have something else, and in the third movie they would have something else. But the fans and the viewers, they loved Michael Myers so much that they changed their direct, they changed they changed the path that they were going for, right? And they switched it all around, and it was Michael Myers like every single movie. but it's really interesting because a lot of people hate Halloween 3 because Michael Myers isn't in it. Um, I love that movie more than most people actually. I think it's a pretty damn good film, to be honest. I mean, it has Tom Atkins in it, of course, who I got to meet, by the way. A while back I was in England with For the Love of Horror, right? The festival For the Love of Horror, and I got to meet Tom Atkins there, so that was great. But yeah, I love it more than most people do. Halloween 3. But anyway, then we got Halloween 4, 5, and 6. With the niece of Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and it was kind of, they tried to give Michael Myers a more supernatural, storyline and appearance, right? Didn't really work. I actually, the Curse of Michael Myers is pretty good, but apart from that, and then of course Halloween 7, Halloween H2O. Basically, it's the return of Laurie Strode's character, and yeah, I mean that film wasn't really a great one. Michael Myers being a copycat and stuff like that. It like Friday the 13th Part 5. And so yeah, that didn't work. Then Halloween 8, which starts with the murder of Laurie Strode. I mean, come on, that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And then basically Halloween turns into Big Brother, which is also kind of yeah. Anyway, and then Jerry is saying like Halloween, and then you got the Rob Zombie films, of course, Halloween and Halloween 2. I don't care about the Rob Zombie films. I don't care about it at all. I think those movies are a monstrosity. I think they're an abomination. They should never have been made. I think those movies betray everything that Halloween is supposed to be. So I didn't like those. But then we got Halloween like 2018, and I really, really enjoyed that. I thought that was a very good film. So yeah, I really want to watch Halloween Kills. I really want to watch it. So I might go on Monday, upcoming Monday. I might go then, but I'll have to see if I can fit it into my schedule. But I really want to see it. So I'll probably go and watch it sometime this week, probably. So yeah. So yeah, that's Halloween for you. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, Jerry was saying Halloween 2 from 1981, Halloween 2 from 2009, and Halloween Kills. Okay, so are those your favorite Halloween movies? Are those your favorites, Jerry? Are those your favorite movies in the franchise? I'm curious. Let me know if those are actually your favorites right now. That would be interesting. Let's see, who do we have here? Jerry is here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm curious to know, like, are those your favorite Halloween films from the franchise? That's personally, I think if I had to choose, I think probably, of course, I mean the first one, of course, the first Halloween from 1978. That's a masterpiece in itself. Then I think Halloween 3. Halloween 3. Again, I love it more than most people. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good movie. So Halloween 3, maybe The Curse of Michael Myers, and then basically the most recent one, Halloween 2018. I think those are my favorite movies of the Halloween franchise, for me anyway. That's my personal preference. But you know, I mean, you know, as great as the 2018 movie is, nothing beats the original. For me, anyway. For me personally, nothing beats the original. In my opinion, I think the original Halloween from 1978. I mean, I can watch that movie over and over again. It's great. It's great. So yeah. Mm, let's see, how are we doing here? Okay, so Jerry is here. All right, let's see. We have one person watching the chat right now, so there we go. Are you still there, Jerry? Are you still there? I hope you are. I hope you are. Oh, Jerry is saying, no, 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 those are not my favorites. I was just making a remark about how funny it is for this franchise to have three movies that are basically Halloween 2. Yeah, yeah. It's you know, it's kind of funny how things turn out, right? I mean, it's just yeah, it's kind of funny how things turn out that way. It's like but like back then, in the especially in the 80s, like people didn't really care about the numbers on sequels, right? I mean, if you look at Friday the 13th, the franchise, I think Friday the 13th, part 6, I think it's not even called part 6. I think it's just called, what was it again? Jason Lives. I think I think that's the name of the sequel. Actually, it's not Halloween. It's not Friday the 13th. Part 6. The same with part 7. I think that's just called New Blood. I think it was. The eighth film. It's like Jason visits Manhattan or meets Manhattan, one of those two anyway. But it has Manhattan in the title. And then of course you have Jason Goes to Hell. That doesn't have like a part, you know, 10 or whatever in it. So, especially back in the 80s, the producers and stuff, they didn't really care about numbers on their sequels. They just like, you know, as long as we can make sequels out of something, we're good, right? That was basically the whole mentality of the producers back then. So yeah, it's a crazy world, right? Crazy world. Mm. But yeah, it's but you know what? It's funny. It's funny because I always thought that I when I watched Halloween 8, the one where Laurie Strode was dying at the start of the film, I thought like, well, okay, that's it. I mean, this franchise is over. It has burned itself out. It has jumped the shark. It's done. The ship is sinking. Let's just leave it at this, right? The same with Friday the 13th. I mean, by the time Jason got to Manhattan, I was like, come on, really? Really? But um yeah, so I thought that it was really a sinking ship. Same with Friday the 13th. And it turns out Friday the 13th is a sinking ship because there is no telling whatsoever when we will get a new Friday the 13th movie. But funny thing, actually, funny thing. When I went to the convention for the love of horror, I actually got to meet Adrian King. I actually got to meet Adrian King, who played Alice in the original Friday the 13th, the original film. And I got to talk to her for like about 10-15 minutes, which was great. Adrian King is fantastic. She is such a sweet and kind person. It's great. But I got to talking with Adrian King, and she basically confirmed that she would be willing to do another movie. The same way that they are doing Halloween right now. Bringing back Laurie Strode. Bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis. As it turns out, uh, Adrian King is willing. She would be willing to do a new Friday the 13th movie in the same vein of Halloween right now, like bringing her back to play a really adult and much older Alice, actually. And I would be all for that. I would be all for that. I think that would be great. They just have to sort out all of the legal shit, right? They have to sort out all of the legal shit, between the studios first. All the crap that goes on behind the screens. Just fix your shit, man. Just fix your problems. It's like I don't know. I don't know. It's really frustrating to me, but hopefully they can sort it out pretty quickly, and let's fingers crossed. Hopefully it will happen one day, a new Friday the 13th with Adrian King. I mean, if Jamie Lee Curtis can do it, Adrian King can do it, right? So yeah, let's see. Jerry is saying, personally, I think it's the strongest Halloween after the original and the 2018 reboot. You know what? I'm hearing that more and more. I'm hearing that more and more. Actually, I'm hearing quite a lot that this is one of the all-time favorites for people who have seen the movies. All of the movies. They would say that this ranks very high on their list. It ranks very high, which is saying a lot. So yeah, I would be yeah, I really want to check it out. I really want to check it out. I will go and watch it probably this week. So Jerry's also saying Halloween Kills proved to be an extremely divisive chapter in the franchise. Some people call it a huge disappointment, while others praise it heavily. Yeah, I mean that's always the case, right? That's always the case when you do stuff like this. That's always the case when you do stuff like this. I mean, I mean, a lot of people are. I can imagine. I mean, as soon as like the new Batman film comes out, right, with Matt Reeves, the director Matt Reeves, and with Robert Pattinson and Andy Serkis and stuff. As soon as the new Batman movie comes out, it's I think it's going to be very divisive. I think so. I really think so. And I think a lot of people are going to compare it to Christopher Nolan's Batman films. And don't get me wrong, I love Christopher Nolan's Batman films. I think they're fantastic. But I've seen the trailer for the Batman right now, and the Batman is going to be freaking awesome, man. The Batman is going to be freaking awesome. It looks fantastic. So, I'm really looking forward to it, but I think it's going to be very divisive for sure. Um Jerry is saying, "Oh, you got to meet Adrian King. How cool is that? I'm sure she is the sweetest soul." Yes, yes, absolutely. She was wonderful. She was wonderful. So, she was so laid back and kind and like yeah. And you know what? Whenever I meet my my stars, my childhood icons, I always get very nervous. I always get very nervous. So um, and I remember later on in the day, I actually had my photo up with her because I had a photo up with Adrian King, and basically I walked up to her and she basically she I think she could sense that I was very nervous, and basically she just took my hand. She grabbed she just grabbed my hand, and she said, don't be nervous, it's fine, we're all here for the same thing. And she gave me a hug, and it was really good. Really sweet person, really sweet person. But so are most of the actors and actresses in horror films are really nice people, as it turns out. So yeah, but yeah, wonderful person, Adrian King. Um, Jerry is saying, one thing is for sure about Halloween Kills: it's the most violent Halloween of them all. The violence in it is very graphic, nihilistic, and sometimes even mean-spirited. Oh, really? Wow, that's okay. That's that's interesting. That's interesting. They have decided to take a more extreme path with these films. They've decided to go, a more extreme path with this, which is interesting. It's interesting because if you go back to the original Halloween, right? If you go back to the original Halloween from 1978, um, the original Halloween it's a bloodless film. Well, I mean, it's for like 99%. For like 99%. It's a bloodless film. There is some small amounts of blood in there, especially at the start of it all. But it's Halloween is a bloodless film. So the fact that they have chosen to go in a more extreme and graphic route, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Um, yeah, that's very interesting. I hope it will. I hope the movie doesn't suffer from it. That's my one hope for it anyway. I hope the movie doesn't suffer from all of that graphic, violence and stuff. I hope the movie doesn't suffer for it. That's all I hope for. Mm, Let's see who is. Let's see how are we doing here. Let's see. Okay. I think yeah, I think I'm up to speed. So yeah, but you know, the fandom being, let's go back to that. The fandom being divisive is a really big thing nowadays. It's a really big thing nowadays. We've seen it with Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars, the fandom of Star Wars is so toxic nowadays. It's insane. And like I said, I feel that we are going to get the same thing, when the new Batman film is released, because I already know that a lot of people are going to lean towards, their argument, like, well, it's nothing compared to Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's movies are way superior. Uh, but 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 that's a wrong comparison, because this is a new Batman. This is a new Batman that we're getting. It's a new iteration of the Dark Knight. So comparing it to Christopher Nolan is really unfair. You should judge this movie. You should judge this movie in its own right. In its own right. And don't get me wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. I love those Batman films he did. I love them. I love them to death. But this is going to be a new movie, a new chapter, a new iteration, and I can't wait. I can't wait, because the Batman is my favorite superhero. Out of all of the superheroes, the Batman is my favorite. So I'm really looking forward to this film, and you know what? And one thing that I really really like is they keep this new film grounded. They in that in that way they go kind of the same route of Christopher Nolan, because Christopher Nolan's Batman films were also very grounded and realistic. But this new Batman is also going to be very grounded and more realistic in a certain way, which, I mean, I really like that stuff. So I can't wait. But yeah, I mean, you're right. The fandom these days are very divisive in general. In general, they are very divisive. So it is what it is, I guess. It's the times we live in, I guess. Jerry is saying, that's right. This new chapter took the less suspense, more gore path. The whole film is really excessive, but it's fun and surprisingly original. Okay, well, that's good. That's good. As long as it's new and original, I'm all for it. As long as it's, as long as it's trying to do new things, and add new elements to the franchise, then, I'm there for it. So, yeah. Jerry is saying, by the way, the trailers shown before my screening of Halloween Kills were Matrix 4 and Scream 5. That's what it's like to live in the era of sequels, reboots. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's for me anyway. To me, it's just a testimony about the studios, running out of ideas. They just don't know what to do anymore. Especially when it comes to horror. Especially when it comes to the horror genre. I think I think the steam is out. The steam is gone. The steam is just gone, and that's why you get all of these sequels and reboots and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there are still some very good horror movies. Like The Witch, or The Lighthouse, or Incident in a Ghost Land, or I See You, or what else? Don't Breathe, right? Don't Breathe. A Quiet Place. There are still some really good horror movies. The problem is, though, that those movies are much more art house driven. They're much more art house driven, whereas the mainstream horror films go, as far as the mainstream horror, yeah, I mean, Hollywood has just run out of steam, I guess. They've run out of ideas. They've run out of steam. and that's why we're getting all of these sequels and reboots and stuff. And that's how we get franchises like The Conjuring and Insidious and stuff, which are um they're just not my cup of tea. I think they are weak horror. I think they're weak. um the stories are uninteresting. The characters, I don't care about the characters very often. So it's just very bland mainstream horror, really. And if it I really get frustrated by this because I want good horror, right? I want good horror, and then I look at like things like The Witch or Incident in the Ghostland or the new films from Brandon Cronenberg, what about Antiviral or something like that, or um, those kind of directors. Get Out, right? Get Out, from Jordan Peele. That's the kind of horror that I want. That's the kind of horror I want to see, and not it's just really grinding my gears. And it's sad. It's sad that we're there. And that's actually one of the reasons that I'm a collector. I collect a lot of Blu-rays and stuff, movies. But all of the stuff I collect is old school. I think all of the stuff I collect is old school. It's from the 90s, it's from the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, because those movies have just so much more to tell, right? They have so much more to tell. And you know and I just feel craftsmanship behind it, and it has authorship. And today every horror movie that I see in mainstream anyway, I can just see the dollar marks. How much money can we make off of this? It's really sad. It's really sad. But it's let's see, where are we? Jerry is saying, I think one of the reasons why the studios keep feeding us with endless sequels and reboots is the factor of nostalgia. They exploit our nostalgia, basically. Yeah, exactly. Like, the studios, basically, they just think like, oh, remember, this is how it goes, basically. um the studios are basically, hey, remember that one film from 1978 directed by John Carpenter? It was called Halloween. Everybody loved that film. Everybody loved that film. We smell money. We can make money off of that. Let's produce 100 sequels of Halloween. That will keep the fans happy. So that's what it is. I think you're right on the spot, Jerry. I agree with you 100%. I think you hit the nail on the coffin. That's it. That's the reason. And it's really sad. It's really sad because, again, if I go back to the art house things, right? Like I said, again, Incident in the Ghostland, The Lighthouse, Antiviral, what was that one movie again? Don't Breathe. Those are all movies that are so good. Those movies are so good. And it's like, why can't we get more movies like that? It's just, I don't know, but it's just, I don't know. But I think you hit the nail on the coffin there, Jerry. That's exactly the reason I think what's happening. And also, like I said, and also, they ran out of creative ideas. Basically, they have no more original ideas and creative visions and stuff like that. It's yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad, to be honest. And you know what? And then I look at directors like Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve and stuff like that. And every single movie that they make is fantastic. Every single movie they make is fantastic. And I'm like, go, take inspiration from them. Take inspiration from them. They know how it's done, you know, the same way, because I want to give credit where it's due. One big exception to the rule for me is Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan is the exception to the rule for me. I love what Mike Flanagan is doing right now for the horror genre. The Haunting of Hill House, Hush, Blind Manor, Midnight Mass. Um, you know, Mike Flanagan gets it, man. Mike Flanagan gets it. He knows what the fans want. He knows what the fans want to see in terms of horror movies or shows or whatever. So I want to give it credit where it's due. Mike Flanagan is great. But I'm like, I want to shout at the producers and stuff like, go, take inspiration from those guys. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. So yeah, it is what it is, I guess. It's you can't do anything about it, right? So let's see where we are here. Let's see where we are. I think I had all of the comments here. Yeah. So yeah, that's yeah, it's kind of sad, really. It's kind of sad, but I guess it's the times that we live in, right? I guess it's the times we live in. It's yeah, yeah. Jerry is saying, imagine the studios trying to remake Nolan's films 40 years from now to please older fans. Speak of nostalgia. Can you remember the first ever film you got to see in a theater? Was it good? Well, I'll answer the first thing. Let me answer that first part first, Jerry. Imagine the studios doing a remake of Christopher Nolan's films 40 years from now. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. But you know what? When that time arrives, I will be like 85 years old, and I don't care anymore. I wouldn't care anymore. So, it's luckily I will probably not, have any memory of that at all. But as it stands now, no, don't do it. Don't do it. It's that would be horrible. But to answer your question, can you remember the first ever film you got to see in a theater, and was it good? Yes, I can actually, and I'll tell you the story. It was 1993. 1993. That's a long time ago. I was 10 back then. I was 10 years old. Holy hell. How time flies, right? And I'm 38 now, by the way. I'm 38 now, so long time. But anyway, it was 1993, and I think it was in May. It was in May 1993, and And actually, my dad, it was my father. My dad, basically, he wanted to take me to the movies. He wanted to take me to the movies, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's interesting," because I didn't know what, I didn't know what cinema was, right? I mean, I had seen movies on TV. Of course, I had seen movies on TV. So I've already seen a lot of movies by then, but I had never gone to the cinema before. I've never had the theatrical experience, right? So my father basically said, "I want to take you to the movies." Okay, fine, good. Okay, that's interesting. Cool. So we went to the theater. We got the tickets, and he said, "There is this movie that is coming out. It's directed by Steven Spielberg." And I know who Steven Spielberg was because I saw Jaws and Indiana Jones and Poltergeist and Close Encounters, all of that stuff. I had seen a lot of Steven Spielberg films, but he basically said, like, there is a film. It's directed by Steven Spielberg. He made the film, and I think it would be. I think you would really, really like this film. So, okay, we go into the theater, and the movie starts. And let me tell you something. That was quite the experience. I'm talking about Jurassic Park, by the way. in case you didn't know already, but I'm talking, of course. I mean, I'm talking about Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, and it was such an amazing experience for me because back then I was like Ross from Friends, right? I was like Ross from Friends. I was so into dinosaurs and stuff. I was really into dinosaurs. Um, so I was kind of like Ross from Friends, but seeing actual dinosaurs on the big screen, well, not real dinosaurs, of course, but they looked pretty freaking real, man. And it it was such a magical experience for me. It was great. I mean, the, I remember the first time when they have the scene where you have the brachiosaur, grazing the fields and like eating off the trees and stuff. I remember I had tears in my eyes in cinema. I had tears in my eyes. I mean, it was so wonderful. And of course, later on, I got kind of scared, of course, because then you had the T-Rex scene, right, with the T-Rex, attacking the car with the kids in it and stuff. And then later on, and even that scene really was really scary to me. That scene was really scary to me. The raptors in the kitchen, hunting down the kids and stuff. That was some creepy stuff. But yeah, it's great movie experience. And I think I think that's actually the first movie that got me really invested in film and cinema and TV shows and stuff like that. I think that's the first movie that made me really, really curious about everything in terms of film and actors and directors and all of that stuff. So yeah, great experience. Great experience. I will never forget it. I will never forget it. Uh, Jerry is saying, "What a great film to get introduced to the movie going experience. The first time I was taken to the movies was in 1997." Okay, so it was very close to the same time I was taken to the movies. It was around the same time that I went to the movies for the first time. So good on you, good on you. Jerry is saying it was that wonderful Batman film with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh my god. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, let's like I think I think everybody wants to forget that film, right? I think everybody wants to like ban that film out of their minds. And I mean I'm guilty of this as well because I was in cinema. I was in cinema watching that film, and I didn't know anything about movies or art or storytelling or whatever. So what did I know? I didn't know shit. I didn't know crap. So I'm as guilty as everybody, but yeah, I think everybody wants to scrap that experience from their minds. But that's a very interesting film to be introduced into the movie going experience, Jerry. Um, I'm sad, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry you had to go through that. That was yeah, yeah. Train wreck, right? Train wreck. It's oh boy. Oh boy. It looked like it's amazing. Oh man. Thank God, thank God we got Christopher Nolan at some point. Thank God Christopher Nolan stepped in. You know, it was about 10 years too late, but still, thank God for Christopher Nolan. Because yeah, terrible movie. Horrible movie. Horrible movie. It belongs in the same category as like Jaws 4, right? Stuff like that. So yeah, yeah, man, that must have been that must have been so that must have been something. That must have been something. Anyway, mm, all right, let's see. Let's see where we are. I think I covered everything there. Do we have any people in? Let's see. Okay, we're good. We're good. Let's see where we are with the. How are we with the time anyway? Oh, we're coming up on 52 minutes already. It's 53. Sorry, 53 minutes already. Wow. So, but yeah, um, yeah, terrible film. Terrible film. Let's just forget about that one. Not good. Not good. Mm. But again, thankfully we had Christopher Nolan, um, and he delivered the goods. So we it was they made it up. They made it up to us, right? They made it up plenty. So yeah, there was that. But yeah, like I was saying, I think that's the movie that got me really into everything about film and cinema and TV, directors, actors, all of that stuff. I think it was Jurassic Park. I really think so, and yeah, that's where my love for movies and TV shows came from, basically. So yeah. Um, besides Adrian, besides Adrian King, did you have any other memorable interactions with actors, filmmakers? Yes, actually. Well, first let's talk about For the Love of Horror. Um, at the same convention, I actually got to meet Tom Atkins, who was fantastic. He is great, man. He is great, and he was the number one I wanted to visit. He was the number one I wanted to see. He did so many great films: The Fog, Halloween 3, Escape from New York, Creep Show. Maniac Cop, Night of the Creeps. He did so many great films, and so I really wanted to see him, and he was awesome, man. He was awesome, and I got, he signed my Blu-ray. He signed a Blu-ray for me from Night of the Creeps, and it's very funny because I wanted to ask him, like, out of all of the movies, what is your personal favorite? And I already said to him that mine is Night of the Creeps, and apparently it's his favorite movie as well. That's his favorite movie he made, Night of the Creeps, which is crazy. But Tom Atkins was great, and he too could really tell that I was very nervous, at the photo and stuff. And he was joking around. He was like, "Don't be an idiot. Just put your arm around me like that." So it's very, very fun, kind person, great guy. I got to meet Rutger Hauer at one point, before he sadly passed away. Sadly, he passed away a year after I got to meet him. Anyway, I got to meet him a year before he passed away, which is great. He was a really great guy. He was a really great guy, and he was from my country as well. He was from Holland, so but I met Rutger Hauer. Let's see, who else did I meet already? Let me think. I got to meet Claire Higgins, who played Julia from Hellraiser, of course. I got to meet Alex Vincent, who played Andy, the kid in Child's Play. I got to meet Felisa Rose, who played in Sleepaway Camp. Let's see who else. I got to meet what was his name again? The guy who played Gustavo Fring in Breaking Bad, Giancarlo Esposito. That's what it was, Giancarlo Esposito. I got to meet him. Let's see who else. Let me think. I got to meet Lenny James from The Walking Dead. I got to meet a lot of Walking Dead people. So let's see who else. God, there are so many. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any names right now, but a lot of them. So yeah, it's really great. It's really, it's always great to meet your, childhood icons and, movie heroes, right? It's always fun to meet your, movie heroes and stuff, and your childhood icons. So yeah, great stuff. Jerry is saying, rest in peace, Rutger Hauer, right? Such a loss. Yeah. I mean, he was so great, and a great actor, but also a really great person. Let me tell you a story. So I got to meet Rutger Hauer like a year before he passed away, right? And I got to meet him in Germany. For another convention. It's called Weekend of Hell, which is also about horror and science fiction and stuff and fantasy and stuff like that kind of convention. But it was called Weekend of Hell, and I got to meet Rutger Hauer there. And I asked him. I wanted to ask him one question, so I asked that question. I when he was signing my DVD, I was asking him, like, you moved to America, you have all of these great roles and stuff, you are making a lot of money, you've become famous, right? So why do you always keep coming back to Holland? because he was still living in Holland. Actually, he was still living in Holland. So I asked him, like, why do you always come back to Holland? And basically he's this is what he said to me: because I miss my chickens. That's what he said. Because I miss my chickens. Because he was living on a farm. He lived with his family on a farm, so they had like cows and chickens and stuff. But that's what he said basically. I miss my chickens. That's why I come back to Holland. So such a down to earth and really great guy, really kind, and great to the fans as well. I mean, he would talk to people for like 10 minutes. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yes, you're right. Such a loss. And just everything he did with movies and stuff like Blade Runner and The Hitcher and Hobo with his shotgun, and well, you name all of them anyway. But yeah, a big loss. A big loss. Yeah. Let's see. Jerry is saying, my most memorable experience of meeting a film celebrity was talking to David Lynch in 2009 when he was promoting his book. He shook my hand and I didn't want to wash it that day. Yeah. No, I mean, wow, that's great, man. That's great. That's really great. I mean, I'm a big I'm a big fan of David Lynch. I'm a big fan of David Lynch. Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, Eraserhead, of course, Twin Peaks. I mean, I love David Lynch, and wow, that's great, man. That must have been an amazing experience to meet David Lynch. That must have been an amazing experience. That's great, man. That's great. Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. And like you said, he shook my hand and I didn't want to wash it that day. I know how you feel, man. I know how you feel. I know how you feel. So yeah, I know how you feel exactly. That's like it's and it's like it's always I mean, this is me anyway, but this is me anyway, but I'm always like so I'm always so humbled, and honored when I get to meet all of these people, because as movie fans, we tend to take stuff for granted, right? We tend to take all of it like for granted, like, oh, it's just their job and they're just doing the thing, and they probably meet like millions of people like everywhere and stuff. We as a fandom, as movie fans and stuff, we tend to take stuff for granted. So I personally, I always feel like I'm very honored but also humbled to meet all of these people, um because not a lot of people have that opportunity, right? Not a lot of people have that opportunity to actually meet those famous actors like Rutger Hauer, or famous directors like David Lynch. Not everybody uh not everybody has the ability to experience that. So I always feel very humbled and honored when I'm meeting all of these people. But meeting David Lynch is like, that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Uh, Jerry Jerry is saying Lynch is ridiculously down to earth as well. I can imagine. I can imagine. It's like, like I said before, with most of these people who are working in like horror or science fiction or um, fantasy or whatever, they uh, they they are always very down to earth, and like you said, down to earth, and very, very easy and mellow and stuff. It's really crazy because a lot of the times they play such crazy roles, right? You know what? I remember this is another thing. I remember going to Comic Con in Amsterdam. Amsterdam is the capital of Holland, where I live, of course. But I remember going to Comic Con in Amsterdam, Holland, and I got to meet Robert England there. Robert England, who, of course, Freddy Krueger, right? Freddy Krueger. I got to meet Robert England there, and he was signing my Blu-ray, my DVD. Sorry, my DVD. He was signing my DVD, and he was just writing and writing and writing, and and he just said to me like, you know what? This is going to take some time. Sit next to me right here. Come sit next to me. So I sat next to Robert England while he was signing my DVD of A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's like, those people are like, I mean, you could see the security, like, frowning and shaking their heads and stuff. But Robert England, he didn't care, man. He didn't care. So, it's like you said, they are so down to earth. It's insane to me. It's insane. So, yeah. Let's see, where are we? Jerry is saying, because I miss my chickens could be a nice title for Howard's autobiography, or at least one of the chapters. Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll get one day. Maybe we'll get an autobiography one day. That would be cool. That would be great. But yeah, that would that would be like that would be a nice title for the book, right? That would be a nice title for the book. Like, because I miss my chickens. I can already see it. Because I miss my chickens. An autobiography on Rutger Hauer. That would be like that would sell, man. That would sell. I bet that would sell. That would sell a lot of books. So yeah, that would be cool. Maybe it will happen one day. Maybe it will happen one day. Yeah, but yeah, like you said again, that these people are so down to earth, and it's so interesting because they are famous, right? They are famous. They are, they deal with paparazzi and all of this, and media and all of that stuff. And then still have the ability to be so, so mellow and kind, and just, being forward to your fans, basically. It's really amazing to me. It's really amazing to me. And yeah, like I said, I'm every time I get to meet these people, I always feel very, very humbled and honored, because it's, not everybody gets to do that. So yeah. um Jerry is saying, speaking of England, they re-released the original Nightmare on Elm Street to theaters last September here in Russia. Of course, I had to see. It's crazy how effective it still is. Yeah, yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is, Jerry. It absolutely is. And you know what? You know what? I recently rewatched Nightmare on Elm Street, as well. Um, the original, of course. I recently rewatched Nightmare on Elm Street, And you know what? It's still scary. It's still very scary to me. It's still very scary. It's so effective. Like you said, it's how effective it is. It's like you're right. It's insane. It still works, and it's like and it's still scary as well. I still get scared from watching that film, which is really, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's insane. Like the scene where I forgot her name, but the scene where the main character, man, I forgot her name. Nancy, that's who it was, Nancy. The scene where Nancy is like in the bathtub, and Freddy's hand with the glove, comes out of the water, in front of her, and the fingers go like this and stuff. It's I mean, it's so phenomenal. It's really great. I mean, the like you said here, Jerry. This, despite the often lousy practical effects, it's extremely effective cinematically. Well, I wouldn't call it lousy. I wouldn't call it lousy. It's They are cheap, right? They are cheap practical effects. They are. It's cheap. They're very cheap practical effects, because they didn't have a very huge budget. They didn't have like a budget of like 100 million, right? They didn't have that kind of budget, so they had to be creative and create workarounds and use, like you said, use practical effects, um and I wouldn't call it lousy. It's a bit cheap at times, but I think it's so effective. And you know what? I think it's much more effective than most of the crap you see in modern day horror films. I think it's much more effective and scary than most of the stuff you get to see in horror movies of today. Um, because again, it's still a scary film. It's still a scary film. The scene where Nancy is like daydreaming in school, and she goes out into the hallway, and she sees her dead friend, that got murdered, and she has the hand of Freddy Krueger, and she even talks in the same voice. I mean, that's scary stuff, man. Those kind of scenes, those are scary to me. That's the kind of that's the kind of scenes that scare me. And I think it's much more effective and on point than anything in modern day horror cinema, in mainstream anyway. So yeah. Let's see. Jerry is saying cheap. That's right. That's what I meant. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we mean, we're talking about the same thing, really. Um, Cheap. That's what I meant. But the quality of some of the effects doesn't matter at all here, because the film is masterful. Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And it just, again, it speaks to the creativity and the imagination that the director has. And again, sadly, Wes Craven, he is no longer with us, sadly. um it's Yeah, it's sad. Wes Craven is no longer with us, but I think it just speaks to the imagination and the creativity of the directors, and just they just they have a very clear vision, right? They have a very clear vision of what they want to do. and Mike Flanagan is the same way. Mike Flanagan has the same principles. He's like, this is what I want to make, and this is the way I'm going to make it. And I think I am 100% supportive of that kind of filmmaking. I always support that kind of filmmaking. So yeah. Let's see. Jerry's also saying, I agree with you entirely. This film remains scary to this day, even when you've seen it 100 times. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It just, it all has to do with atmosphere, right? It all has to do with atmosphere, creating the right atmosphere. And just a lot of movies today, especially in horror, a lot of movies today, they don't know what atmosphere is, or how to create atmosphere, which is really, yeah, kind of a bummer, really. In present day, in horror cinema today, in mainstream anyway, they think it's all about jump scares. And I can't beat around the bush. This is how I feel, and I will always feel this way. Jump scares are cheap. Jump scares are cheap. They are an easy money making scare factor, and it's not for me. It's not for me. But all of these, modern day horror movie goers, they are all like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever." Not really, not really. Like, is The Conjuring that great? Really? Is it really that great? I don't know. But yeah, it's Jerry is asking, how do you feel about Craven's film debut debut film, by the way? That was Last House on the Left, I believe it was. Last House on the Left. You know what? I like it. I like it more than most people, I think. I like it more than most people, but mostly because I really love the message that the film has. I really like the social commentary in that film, and the message, because Last House on the Left, it's basically all about violence begets violence, right? Violence leads to more violence. And it's about private justice and things like that. And so I really like the thematics of that film. I really like the thematics of that film, and just the commentary it's trying to give. And I get what people are saying, like Last House on the Left, that it's such an unpleasant watch, and it is an unpleasant watch. But I think that I what people forget, I think, is that it's an important unpleasant watch. I think it's an important unpleasant watch, because, like I said, the thematics in that film are, I think, are very good and very transparent. Like I said, private justice, violence leads to violence. Um, there is even a certain element of revenge in there. Um, I think there is even a certain element of revenge in there, and I really love Last House on the Left. So, but I can see why it's such a controversial film. I can see why it's controversial, but I really like it. I really like it. So, yeah. Um So let's see. Jerry is saying, it's nice to hear you doubting the greatness of The Conjuring. Yeah, I do. I really do. Um, I remember the hype surrounding that film at the time of its release. I was shocked at the amount of jump scares in it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's like again, this is how I feel, and I'm not gonna sway from that. Jump scares are cheap. Jump scares are cheap, and if you look at again, if you look at things like Nightmare on Elm Street, or I think we talked about this in a previous live stream, Jerry. When you look at The Shining, for example, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, or Nightmare on Elm Street, or things like The Exorcist, or even Cannibal Holocaust, which is one of my all-time favorite, films. But if you look at those films, with those films, it's much more about creating atmosphere and making tension, making very tense scenery, and making the film actually scary, by it gets under your skin. Those films, they crawl under your skin, right? They crawl under your skin. And with The Conjuring, I don't have that feeling. With a lot of them, anyway. Like the same with Sinister or Insidious, stuff like that. I just don't. I just don't have that feeling with The Conjuring and stuff like that. And that's why I think, like, if you look at The Shining, or again Nightmare on Elm Street, Cannibal Holocaust, the Exorcist, I think those movies are much better in terms of being actually scary, right? And being actually shocking, right? And I just don't feel that in modern day mainstream horror, because, like you said, the amount of jump scares, it's 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 silly. It's silly and ridiculous, and again, jump scares are cheap. Jump scares are cheap. That's the best way of saying it, really. Let's see, where are we? Jerry says, The Conjuring getting so much praise was the point when I realized that the modern standards of good horror fell really, really low. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, The Shining had at least 2 jump scares, but they are extremely well executed. I guess, but still, like you said, Jerry, you say it yourself. You you say it yourself, right? You say it yourself. They are very well executed jump scares. Um, me personally, I personally wouldn't call it jump scares. I wouldn't call them jump scares, but I can see why you are calling them jump scares. So, but I wouldn't call them jump scares myself, but I can see why you would call them jump scares. Um, but again, they are, like you said, they are very well executed, and that's the problem with things like The Conjuring. All of the jump scares in there, it feels like they were shoehorned in. It feels like all of the jump scares are shoehorned in there, because the producers and stuff, like, they are like, you know jump scares make money. Jump scares make money, people. Jump scares make money. It doesn't. It doesn't. That's not a money making, you know that's not a money making strategy. So, um So yeah, that's basically the problem for me anyway with modern day things like The Conjuring. It's like, the jump scares are just they're just shoehorned in there. And if they were good jump scares, like you call the two scenes in the Shining jump scares. So if the jump scares were good, then it would probably feel more, accessible to like The Conjuring more. But I just yeah, it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me. So it is what it is, I guess. It is what it is. Let's see, how far are we in? Oh wow, we are already talking for an hour and a half. That's pretty crazy. Let's see where we are. Let's see. I think we're good still. Yeah. So um but yeah. Jerry, which horror trend annoys you? I can't speak. Sorry, Jerry. I'll try again. Which horror trend annoys you the most? Jump scares or torture porn? Or perhaps you admire torture porn? Um, no, actually, no, I don't. I think jump scares annoy me the most. I think jump scares annoy me the most. But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Here's the thing. If it's done right, and I say if, okay? If it's done right, torture porn can actually be very effective. I know that sounds very strange to say, but if it's done right, torture porn can be very effective. Actually, I mean, if you look at things like, and I'm not talking about Saw, right? Because Saw is just that's a torture porn commercial, right? That's a torture porn commercial. It just that is like smearing torture porn all over your face, right? So I'm not talking about things like Saw, but if you look at things like Incident in a Ghostland, I don't know. Have you seen that film, Jerry? Have you seen that film, Incident in a Ghostland? Have you seen that film? If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. It's a good film. It's a good film. But if you look at things like Incident in the Ghostland or Martyrs from the French director, if you look if you look at Incident in a Ghostland or Martyrs or even Cannibal Holocaust, which is one of my all-time favorite films. If you look at those movies, they are using torture porn in such a way that it's really effective, and very often it adds to the story. And that's the most important thing for me with horror as well. That's the most important thing for me. The story has to be good. The story and the characters have to be good. And if that's good, and if some torture porn is like adding to the scare factor, if if it's adding to the scare factor, or if it's just another tool in your box to make the people even more terrified and shocked in a horror film, then then I'm all for it. So I would have to say that jump scares annoy me the most, but only because if it's done right, torture porn can be very effective as a horror tool, as a tool in your horror director, box, basically. So yeah, that's jump scares annoy me more. Jump scares annoy me more. Um, Jerry says, "I've seen that one. I've seen that one. Yes. Okay. So I get. I assume you mean Incident in a Ghostland. Um, but yeah, that's another example, and that movie is great. To me anyway. For me personally, that movie is great. Um, yeah, I love that movie. So yeah, that's my answer. I Jump scares annoy me more because like I said, torture porn can be very effective if it's done right. Um, and again, I'm not talking about Saw, right? Which is basically the torture porn exhibition, right? So yeah. Mm. All right, let's see. Where are we? Do we have any more people coming into the chat? I don't think so. I think we're still good. I think we're still good. Yeah, I think we're still good. Yeah, I think we're still good. Okay. Jerry is saying, "What an awesome live stream it was tonight. Thank you so much for that. I don't want you to get a sore throat tomorrow after talking so much. So I'll give you one final question." Okay, that's fine. Bring it to me. I think I'm gonna cut it short anyway because I've been talking like for an hour and a half already. So I think I'm gonna be done pretty soon anyway. So give me your final question, Jerry. Give me your final question. I'm very curious to find out what it is. Because we've already been talking about. Yeah, we've already been talking about an hour and a half already. So what is your final question of the day, Jerry? Oh, there it is. If you had a chance to watch any movie for the first time again, what would it be? And think well. Yeah, for the first time. For the first time, yeah. Um wow, that's a difficult question. That's a tricky question. Um because there are so many. There are so many. Oh man. What movie and what movie would you watch for the first time again? Um let me think. Let me think. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and only because I have such good memories of that film, and only because I have such good memories of that film. But I think it would be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly from Sergio Leone. I think that's what it would be. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly from Sergio Leone. And you want to know why? You know why? This is the reason. Because I saw The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for the first time on television. I saw it on television. I think I was I think I was around 10. I think I was around the same time that we went and saw Jurassic Park. Maybe a year earlier, like 9. I was 9 or 10 years old. But I saw The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for the first time on television on a small screen. I have a much bigger television right now, so but the reason I would watch that movie again for like the first time is simply because back then I didn't know shit about films. I didn't know I didn't know crap about film or cinema or directors or actors or whatever, or how a film gets made, and the artistic venture behind it. I didn't know scrap. I didn't know scrap. So I just watched a movie, and I liked it or I didn't like it. So that's the reason why I want it. That's the reason I would watch that again for the first time, because I have been rewatching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly recently. There's actually, I made a review on my channel right here. I made a review of the movie on my channel. So if you are interested, check that out. But I've recently have rewatched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and every time I rewatch it, I am more and more amazed by it, because every time I rewatch it, I just realize more and more and more of what a great film that is. It's a fantastic piece of art, and I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have when I was 9 or 10 years old. When I was that age, I didn't appreciate it. I didn't appreciate it for what it was, and I didn't give it the applause and the credit that it deserves, because The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a fantastic film, and it's a wonderful piece of art. So and every time I rewatch it, I find something new in it. Every time I rewatch it, I see something new. So yeah, that would be my answer. If I had the chance to watch any movie for the first time again, it would be Sergio Leone's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, because I really underappreciated that film when I was 9 or 10 years old. So yeah, that would be my choice. Sergio Leone's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That would be my choice. So I hope you will find that answer satisfactory, Jerry. I hope that answer satisfies you. I hope that answer satisfies you. But again, like you said before, what was it again? Jerry says, I can relate with you choosing The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly very strongly. What a film, great choice, and it really gets only better every time you watch it. Absolutely. It's I love that film. I love that film, and I can watch it over and over and over again, and it never gets old. It never gets old. So yeah, it's it's fantastic film. So but like you said before, Jerry, I think I'm gonna cut it off as well. I think I'm gonna end the live stream as well, because like you said, I don't want to have a sore throat tomorrow after talking so much, because we've been talking for like more than an hour and a half already. So I think I'm gonna cut it short as well. Anyway, I'm gonna close off this live stream. Jerry says, once again, mate, it was an extremely enjoyable live stream. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you know what, Jerry? You know what? If you know any fellow YouTubers that you have like as friends or something, or you have subscribed to, if you have any subscribers or friends on your own YouTube channel, for example, if you want to, you can bring them in for the next live stream I'm doing. You can bring them in for the next live stream I'm doing. So just a thought for you anyway. But once again, thank you. It was an extremely enjoyable live stream. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for sharing your passion for cinema. Amen. That's what we're here for, right? That's what we're here for. That's what the community is about, right? That's what the community is about. It's about sharing our love and passion for for cinema and film. So there you have it. Hope to see you back very soon. I will be back. Of course, I will be back. I don't know when I'm going to. I don't know when I'm going to do a new live stream. I don't know when. I'll have to figure out the time schedule. But I am gonna do more live streams for sure. I'm gonna do more live streams for sure. So, but again, if you have any subscribers, or if you know any people from your own YouTube channel, and you want to bring them in for the next live stream, please feel free to do so. Feel free to do so. The more the merrier, right? The more the merrier. But thank you very much, Jerry, for sticking around with me for an hour and a half, 1 hour 40 minutes. Thank you very much for sticking around, for visiting this live stream, for chatting with me for so long. It was a lot of fun. I had so much fun doing this. It was a great live stream, like you said. So thank you very much for taking the time to be here. And I hope you have a good weekend. And I hope to see you back again very soon, Jerry. I hope to see you very soon, very soon. So thank you for watching. I'll be back with more videos, of course, on my channel very soon. Have a good weekend. Stay safe and healthy, everybody. And I see you guys. Bye. See ya.